Raiden Showcase, she's gonna be back in basically over a week time. And from what we've seen, usually when there's an Archon rerun, it can be a bit of a big deal, especially for character, like Raiden Showcase, because many of us have been saving up for her and would love to be able to pull this absolutely amazing looking character. However, for those of you who are still on the fence and who is thinking about it, this video is basically for you, because I'll be having a look into Raiden Showcase to see whether or not she is still a worthy character for you to pull if you haven't had her on your account, or more importantly, I know many of us are looking into a C2, and we'll see whether or not you should be investing into Raiden's constellation at this point in time after so many characters have been released. Primogems has always been the most troubling grinding to get in Genshin Impact. You've just managed to pull it for your favorite character, now you want to get their weapons and constellation, but no primos. What do you do now? Well, of course we tend to swipe our cards, but that can get a little bit expensive, doesn't it? But thanks to Loot Bar, we have an even better way of topping up for Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail that's absolutely safe, secure transaction with lower pricing discount. Not only that, they have very fast delivery in only a couple of minutes of waiting and a very much trustworthy service with over 15,000 orders and the majority of the reviews being 5 stars. To demonstrate to you how trustworthy the service is, I've been topping up through the site myself with Primogems recharge, and the biggest reason why it is safe is because we only need to use our UID to be done. Now you just basically enter your UID server, choose the amount of top up that you want. In my case, I am getting a walk-in for this. Then afterward, yes, you type in your card, and that's basically it, guys. We then wait for a few minutes for the order to be processed. After that, a notification will come for you, then you log into your game, and yes, it is there for you. So surprising at how fast it was done that I went ahead and did another order, this time going for the highest top up in Genshin Impact. I go through the same process again. After the payment went through, it's the same. I just waited for a few minutes and it is done. Log into my game and there you go, my Primogems are there. As you can see, it is very fast and secured. Now on Loot Bar, you can also have the option to top up multiple times in a row, like from 2 to 10 times in one payment. And since the site has that discount percentage off, the higher you recharge, the more money you will be able to save. You can, for example, purchase a 6,480 Primogems Genesis Crystal times 4 times, and that goes for only $295, which if you do the math, it would save you nearly $100 compared to normal Genshin top-up. Right now on Loot Bar, they're holding an event where you're able to buy walk-ins at only $1. Yes, that's basically 80% off on walk-ins. So if you're someone who's planning to go for Raiden Showcase C2 or looking for longer savings of getting Xian Yun, this is a perfect chance for you to grab a lot of walk-in stackings. So guys, check out Loot Bar from my link in the description if you're someone who usually tops up, as it is a very secured place and can save you a lot of money topping up. Plus, don't miss out on this walk-in discount event, guys. So when Raiden was first released, guys, he basically shot up to be one of, if not the very best hyper carry character in Genshin back in that day, even though she's only going to be on field basically for around 7 seconds since she is a burst hyper carry focused DPS. But being able to just dish out very high damage number isn't the only thing that make her to be one of the best DPS, for there are other multiples amazing things that she's capable of as well, namely being able to have 100% uptime in terms of electro application, as well as a bit of sub DPS power because of her E skill. More notably, she has the power to also buff the burst damage of your whole teammate. Not only that, her kit also allows her to hop in terms of energy regen for basically your whole team, which are all very important skill for a character to have. So even though Raiden is a hyper carry. She's doing basically many of the support that your team is needing, which is why she is such a valuable character. Not to mention her access to what free-to-play weapon is absolutely fantastic. 4 Universe basically given us access to the catch, which is quite literally one of the best 4-star free-to-play weapon in the game, and it still is up to this date. So basically free-to-play Raiden Shogun was really much a thing ever since. One more thing I actually forgot to mention is that she has access to super armor during her burst. Therefore, technically speaking, she's never gonna get knocked back, and therefore one of the easier character for you to be able to play because you spam her burst doing her normal attack and you are good to go. Overall, she doesn't even have much of a downside either. So Raiden Shogun was pretty much kind of like a must pull character in most of the account, and that was pretty much the reality back then. And of course, over the years there has been quite a bit of changes towards the metas as well, especially when patch 3.0 arrived where Dendro was released. Huge changes to Electro character, and yes, of course Raiden Shogun was there, allowing her to open up more team comps and having some of the best team accessible in Genshin Impact during that time. For example, Raiden Aggravates and Raiden Hyper Blooms were both basically one of the most used team in the game. And yes, there are of course a bit of new addition to Raiden Shogun team build, especially when Furina actually arrived. For Furina, it's definitely a perfect character to run alongside with Raiden Shogun. Which begs us the questions of, yes, there have been so many changes over the years since Raiden was released. How is she actually doing in the current meta? And while to give you a quick understanding, here's the current usage of the character in the current Abyss. Obviously guys, this current Abyss is still 4.2 and it's not 4.3 yet, and it is heavily favored toward Hydro character in the first half of floor 12. So definitely, character like Neuvillette and Furina is gonna be up there. However, in the second half, Aggravate and Hyper Bloom team comps is definitely favored, and as you can see, Raiden Shogun usage is still there around 50%. So overall, we can see that she's still one of the top tier DPS that is being used. But definitely guys, I would say that Raiden is getting a little bit overshadowed by some of the newer Fontaine release character, especially toward character like Neuvillette, Furina, and I wouldn't entirely say this would be kind of like a power creep things, but more in terms of how the newer Fontaine character have been designed. So definitely if we were to compare character at a C0 level, we will be seeing that Raiden is starting to fall a little bit behind. Which leads us to the question of how good is C2 Raiden actually right now? And guys, I have to say that C2 is still one of, if not the best constellation in the game, for not only you'll be able to get access to C1, which basically allows you to get resolve stacks maxed out most of the time. C2 just basically gives you a straight up around 45% increase into her personal damage, which is one of the highest increase in all of C2 constellation we have access in the game. So definitely C2 Raiden does changes up her power level quite a lot, and will basically allows her to be the best character you have on your account if she's pretty much the only constellation you're investing into a 5-star character. However, after knowing all of this guys, there's still some important notes that I would like to say before you actually go ahead and pull for Raiden Shogun and her constellation is that guys, if you haven't got Raiden on your account and you're a player that is focusing on the meta and not in terms of the love for the character, because if you do love Raiden then yes, just go ahead and pull for her, but in terms of the meta guys, C0 Raiden Shogun is not going to be a worth it character to pull right now, because as I have mentioned, C0 is starting to fall behind because we've just mentioned above towards some of the better Fontaine character that have just been released, C0 Neuvillette, C0 Furina. Pulling and prioritizing those characters will be able to help you build easier easier and better teams from the meta moving forward. So it's definitely gonna be a skip if you are focusing on the meta and did not have Raiden on the team. And for in terms of C2, definitely it is very good. However, the caveat is that you are sacrificing a lot of your pools if you are not lucky, guys. It can definitely cost you up to around 40,000 Primogems if you are not lucky and basically lose 50-50 and hit hard pity, because yes, this is my personal experience from pooling. Whereas you can actually get constellation with a lot lower investment, you know, for example like Nuvalet rerun and you're getting his C1 or Furina constellation. Even Nahida constellation would be pretty much valuable as well, and those characters are going to be able to help you build many other different teams and a bit more universal. Whereas Raiden Shogun is a hyper carry and therefore her team is rather going to be a little bit more compact and limited. Especially do note that, guys, is that even if you already have a Raiden at C2, you potentially may not be getting the full Raiden carry experience, or you are required to basically invest into her very best teams, and that would definitely comprise of you having a C6 Sarah. Now wow, since Sarah's only on Raiden's banner, and if you're already pulling for her C2, you might get C6, but Sarah C6 is a very important character on Raiden's hyper carry, especially at her C2. Other character would be Bennett and definitely Kazuha, another 5-star character that is required on her best teams, which is something that you really much want to take note of, guys. Therefore yes, overall I would still say that C2 is definitely very much a powerful constellation for Raiden Shogun. For knowing that, guys, here I will be demonstrating to you a bit of C2 Raiden Shogun Showcase in terms of pretty much, you know, kind of like a free-to-play account that I was able to borrow from my friends. For I believe that this account kind of reflects a lot of our viewers' account. So here I'll be using, you know, a Raiden Shogun invested at C2, where she doesn't actually have the engulfing lightning and is using the catch that we're able to farm in the game. We do have access to a C6 Sarah, for as I have mentioned, if you do try to pull for C2, you probably have quite a lot of Sarah constellations. We'll definitely be using Bennett as well, and since this account doesn't have Kazuha, but we do have access to Yelan, we can slot Yelan on our current Raiden Shogun's team.
There is no escape. Illusion of destruction. Everybody stand back. Let's glory to the Shogun. Now you shall perish. Quiet. Things are about to get dicey. Illusion shattered. Gotcha. Here comes the catch. Everybody stand back. Glory to the Shogun. Inazuma shines eternal. Shine down. Quiver. Let's light it up. Quietly now. Illusion shattered. Things are about to get dicey. Now you shall perish.
So yeah, as you can see, that's pretty good damage number. Definitely this is a very much invested Raiden Shogun team on an account that is basically free to play. So you can kind of expect something a bit similar if you are a free to play player and you're trying to go for C2, guys, for you to kind of imagine how it goes. So overall, guys, I would say that's all I have to say regarding, you know, Raiden Shoguns in the current meta, as well as whether or not to pull for her constellations. I hope that the video have been pretty much helpful for you in terms of decision making. If you do have any other questions, just leave it down in the comment section and I or some other lovely Genshin players will get to you there. If you are new to the channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe as I post a lot of interesting Genshin videos that'll be both enjoyable and helpful to you. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day and I'll catch you on my next video.